before, we'll always have that look on Sean McVay's face. We can always think fondly on that one. Wow, Mr. David.
Good morning, Mully. Yeah, not a happy Monday in Chicago, but what a game it was. What a season we just saw, and it ended not the way you wanted it to for the Bears last night. They could have had it. They had many opportunities, but it was a night of missed opportunity for the Bears. They were close. They came oh so close, and Caleb Williams did it again, and then it just, in overtime, tried to do a little too much, and the Rams took advantage, and the Bears are going home.
You look at the game book, and you go to the team stats page. Mm-hmm. The Bears dominated pretty much every stat you can think of, but the one stat, which is takeaways.
You're exactly right. They made the best offense in football, the most points and the most yards, punt 8 times. They outgained them. They held the ball longer than them.
They did.
They defensively played as well as you could have possibly expected under the circumstances.
More yards passing, more yards rushing. They dominated all those statistics.
All
they
the
had
things.
More first downs by one, maybe?
Easily, yes. 23-22.
They did so much better on third down, even though the next time that they run the ball left would be a miracle. They kept running the ball right, and everybody in the building knew it, including the opponent. I got to tell you, it was one of those games where if they could take the ball away, and there were opportunities.
There were opportunities there. Matthew Stafford did not have a night you expected from an MVP candidate or front runner, and the Bears just couldn't quite get that step or that half step to get an interception or to create a fumble. It was close. The Bears did an adequate job.
Sacked the guy 4 times, David. You see that coming?
No, I did not see that coming because I did not expect Matthew Stafford to be confused by the blitzes or the pressure, and it looked like he was because of the way that we talked about. The Bears had 6 defensive backs on the field for quite a bit.
Yes.
And you saw Jaquan Brisker have the night of his life.
Unbelievable game from him.
He really did. He did as much in one game to change your complexion or impression of a player and maybe about his future. We'll get into that. There's an entire offseason to discuss that.
So much.
But whether it was Brisker or Tyreek Stevenson really played well.
He played very well.
In a reserve role.
I mean, the thing is, we were talking about it in the pregame show, just about what a great player Puka Nacua is, and played some of that audio, and Devontae Adams. But they don't have a speedster. They don't have somebody that would intimidate you for the long ball. They really don't. They've got guys that catch everything, and that's a serious problem. And as we talked about during the week, Puka Nacua is one of those Jerry Rice-type receivers that just catches the ball. But, you're never going to catch him, but he's not going to outrun anybody.
He's not going to outrun anybody.
And that played to this secondary.
They work the margins to get open, and they're great route runners. And I think that the quality of their routes were compromised by the weather. And that's not making an excuse or explanation for why the Bears defense played as well. But, Mully, you saw slowly as the snow started to stay on the field.
Yes.
It was such a slick surface. You weren't getting Devontae Adams as crisp of a route or Puka Nacua.
Right.
And so what it did was the physicality with which the Bears defensive backs played really made a difference.
Yeah. They've got height. I mean, Nahshon Wright has height.
Yeah.
And it came through a couple of times, knocking the ball away. It was it was cold as blank, as Sean McVay said.
It was so cold, Mully. I think it's impossible to consider that didn't affect the play, the outcome, concentration, all those things. Heck, I was out there for 20 minutes after the game just doing a post-game video thing, and it was uncomfortable. I can't imagine what it was like to be out there for 4 hours trying to play the game of your life.
Unbelievable.
It was really something. And defensively, you give a lot of credit to the Bears up front. Montez Sweat and Austin Booker. Dominic Robinson had himself a game.
Yeah.
So you had the Bears edge rushers really came to play. And so you had from your defense, they rose to the occasion. At every level, they played well enough to win. And
they did.
It was oddly and unusually the offense that let the Bears down most.
Yeah. And I mean, again, as we mentioned, the takeaways. You can't win a game when you lose the takeaways 3-0, right? Turnovers 3-0 in favor of the Rams. That ended up being the game.
It was the game.
So costly.
3 picks by Caleb Williams, and the last one the most regrettable.
Right.
Throwing to DJ Moore, and there's a lot of conversation about DJ Moore and what
he's getting killed by people.
He is really getting killed.
I got to tell you, I saw the play. I understand that he wasn't in full. I just don't know if he wasn't aware he was throwing to. I don't know if he was aware of much. Colston Loveland got a concussion and knocked out of the game. DJ went out and tested for concussion for a long period of time.
He did. He got banged up.
He took a
beating, and his toughness was a factor because he really did take some hits, and he kept on going. And he had some key catches, and he was the guy that was in the middle of a lot. Now, as for that last play and that last interception, Caleb Williams himself said it was a miscommunication.
Yes.
It's an easy one to understand because the safety curl in this point, in this example, you could either he should have flattened the route. I think that's people understand that.
Yes.
At the same time, I'm not sure that has happened every single situation that has come up. Caleb Williams, I felt like the ball wasn't his best pass of the night. It wasn't the greatest decision in those circumstances.
DJ Moore made one of the catches of his career earlier in that game.
The one-handed one?
Left-handed. What the hell was that?
Then he took a beating for that.
Oh, he got killed for it.
Yeah. But, Mully, it was 2nd and 8.
What a player.
And that's why I go back to it was 2nd and 8.
Yeah.
And that was a pass that, if it works, you're like, okay. But in retrospect, you weren't in a position because the next points win the game.
Yeah,
you weren't in a position to force the issue.
They were in too deep, and all you had to do was play the middle of the field. And you still had a timeout there. You play the middle of the field, you kick a field goal, the game is over.
Yeah.
Listen.
It made it easy to regret and
it's tough.
And even easier to second guess.
Yes.
But the minute you criticize Caleb Williams for that, you got to realize
Williams was phenomenal.
You're not there without him.
And I got to tell you, what he said in the postgame really resonated too when he talked about now he's got to work on his footwork and his accuracy. This is the start of something that is extraordinary. It's also the end of something, which is this season. And as much as no one wants to admit it, the reality is, and this will set in as the week goes on, that change is inevitable in the NFL. Change is inevitable for this particular group. You've got to remember that Ben Johnson came in here effectively with the team that was here. Mm-hmm. And he's spent the year going through it, and as has Dennis Allen, and there will be changes among players. There could be changes among the coaching staff.
You couldn't be more right. There will be changes on the coaching staff. We know that. And that reality, as much as you don't want it to be the centerpiece of today's conversation, it looms in the background. And that was what I think made Ben Johnson as emotional as he was post-game.
Yes.
Obviously, the sting of the loss, that's difficult for any competitor. But he referenced what you just described, the fact that it was so tough to get in front of his team for the last time. Knowing that this group, as it was, and the chemistry that carried them so far was never going to be the same.
There are changes in the NFL up to 30-something% every year.
Every year.
Maybe higher than that with this group, just because of the things we've talked about, coming in, coaching players. There are guys that he's coached. There are coaches he's coached with who may wind up being available, who the man may want to work with.
It's year one. It's year one. And as well as things went, and as many games as they won, there are things that probably went on that made impressions behind the scenes that we have no idea of. He may have impressions of players. I'm talking about Ben Johnson.
Yes.
That he wants to remember when he's making an evaluation about what's going to work next year. And he's got to keep an open mind and be objective about making those decisions and not letting emotions kind of get in the way, because next year it's a clean slate.
Yes.
And next year you could either be a team that says you're going to be a consistent perennial contender and winner in the NFC North, or you're going to turn into the Washington Commanders and you're going to get deep in the playoffs and then you're going to be done because of an array of problems that come up. You just don't know. That's why you have to understand things change quickly in the NFL, and that's what made last night even harder to take.
But I think that the takeaways, there are two really important takeaways from the year. Number one is that you've got the right head coach. I don't know anybody that's not happy with him. He is a really good head coach. We talked to Jordan Rodriguez from the Athletic in L.A., and I thought she did a great job of describing Ben Johnson as a unicorn because he is outside the McVay group. He is outside that whole Shanahan crew that dominates the NFL.
Well, he compiled the library.
And everybody wants to
It's his
be a part of
playbook. It's him. Computer. He's
his own guy
yeah.
who doesn't have to rely upon what he was taught by someone else. It's pretty extraordinary. And I think you got that right.
You got that right.
And I think Caleb Williams, if you don't come out of this season thinking, wow, did you see what he did there? Wow. Olin in the postgame, I thought this was brilliant. But he just said Rome Odunze had the line of the year when he said, you think it's the best throw he's ever made. He was talking about the jump man throw until he makes the next one. And I got to tell you, the next one yesterday was unbelievable.
He made the next one.
And you know why he made the next one? Watch that tape again. He's backing up, not running away from people. He's backing up to make that play.
He waits for the guy to clear Cole Kmet in this case.
How is that humanly possible? Unbelievable.
But that's
to
where,
maintain your composure in that moment, David.
But Mully, it all goes back to what we have noticed in Caleb Williams from day one. It's that inner confidence, and whether it comes out in a press conference or under pressure on fourth down, he understands and believes that he can make that throw, so he puts it in a position to do what nobody else really can. I mean, that was Mahomesian again. There are a few quarterbacks in the league that can make that throw under those circumstances. So he backs up, and it's a 14-yard touchdown pass that traveled 51 yards in the air.
How in the name of God did that happen successfully? And you know how? You just said it. His self-belief, it was dripping off of your television screen. Yeah. That guy made one of the best throws, that was one of the best touchdowns I've seen.
And that's why you never thought the Bears were really out of it.
No.
And that's why you felt like going into overtime that even on that 2nd and 8, that was an unforgettable mistake, but it certainly was a forgivable one because he thought he could make the play. Yes. It was not a good throw. Yes. It wasn't the time to take that risk. But with Caleb Williams, because they had won 7 games in the final minutes, you thought they were capable of doing it an 8th time, and so.
Oh, they really. I mean, honestly, they should have won the game because they should have won the game. They did get the ball to midfield. They were so close. Cairo Santos is the man as well. That's a clutch kicker. You want him.
How about him?
He did it again, a 48-yard field goal.
Difficult conditions. And credit to the Rams kicker.
The thicker kicker.
Yeah, the thicker kicker came through. The drama was indeed, as Mike Tirico said, thick.
Yeah,
the tension was thick.
That broadcast I could do without.
Yeah.
There's a reason the Bears can't win on Sunday nights. It's because those two guys you got to listen to.
They're distracting.
That I thought that Tony Romo had one of the worst broadcasts I've ever heard, but that was right behind it. Chris Collinsworth giving him a run for his money.
Yes.
Holy God.
It was one of those things that he gets on these tangents, and it was almost like he was surprised the Bears were as good as they are. And he was almost like he was fascinated by this. Oh, hey, look, the Bears have a team as well.
Just no insight. I mean, just tell me something I don't know. Just one little thing I don't know. Other than something like, if they score here, they're going to be ahead in the gate. Like, oh, thank you.
Well, I think that the one thing we're going to talk about a lot today, and I bet we get a lot of reaction to, was the Ben Johnson approach on 4th down, which I think was different yesterday for a reason. Or at least maybe, I don't want to say different for a reason, but I understood why he went for it when he did, whereas before I think there was more legitimate scrutiny or second guessing. I don't think that Ben Johnson went into this game trusting his defense to play as well as it did.
Yeah, I think that you have to understand that that's who he is and that's what he does. And he is always going to approach it that way. You're going to get frustrated by it. You're going to try to add up hidden points that they didn't score and they could have won it here or there. But the reality is that's who the man is, and that's what he's going to do. And I didn't think there were any, 31-yard line try. I mean,
there weren't any 4th and 5 from your own 32 situations.
No.
There were times when there were 3 times that the Bears got inside the 32 of the Rams, and 3 times it came away without points.
Right.
Those are possessions that when you take those away, you look at the scoreboard, you're like, boy, they could have used that field goal.
Yes.
That said, the first drive was the most confounding to me because people walked away, I think, second-guessing Ben Johnson for going on a 4th down. I came away with it disappointed and frustrated that Rome Odunze dropped a touchdown pass.
I agree. That was bad. And honestly, there were some balls that were slightly behind people. It wasn't like you got to catch. You can't DJ Moore left-handed catch everything thrown to you. But there were a couple that were behind people, and you got to work on your accuracy. And the quarterback knew it and said he was going to. I just think there was a lot to like about the Bears. What was amazing to me, David, is on the post-game show we took calls, and they were very positive calls. I'll be very curious if that fades away overnight and what people have to say to us this morning, because it was one of those things where if you objectively look at the season that they had, you feel disappointed in the end of it, but grateful that season took place. And certainly the takeaways are more about getting the coach right and getting the quarterback right.
I think you're right, because in the NFL, that's the hardest marriage to accomplish. And when you realize how special this season was for a variety of reasons, but this Bears season, this Bears team brought people together.
Yes.
I think that the unexpected nature of it is what was as unforgettable as anything. And I think that will be the takeaway. I would be surprised if today takes a negative turn. I think the reaction throughout town will be, boy, thank you for 3 months of surprises or 4 months of surprises, because it was as surprising as anything. There were eternal optimists that might have seen the Bears winning 12 games this year, but I think objectively speaking, you can look at this team and say they overachieved and they gave us more than we expected.
No question about that for me. I mean, I just thought that it was just one of those years, kind of a really special year. And like I said, I think this quarterback's getting better. He's only going to improve. And the head coach, I know this sounds crazy to say, but that's his first year as a head coach.
It's his first year.
He's going to get better.
He'll learn too.
You look at the team you just played and the coach and quarterback combination. The Bears should have that moving forward. They should have that sort of a relationship between coach and quarterback that only grows.
And it's not just one that you are happy with because the Bears finally have 2 guys they trust. It's a quarterback-coach combination that will be among the best in the league, because you can see Ben Johnson being considered one of the best coaches, and you can certainly see Caleb Williams ascending to being a top 10 quarterback. And both those things put you in a position, if you can take advantage of the rookie salary cap and the rookie contract and build around that, you're going to be a team that is playing in a couple playoff games every season and maybe getting to a Super Bowl and eventually winning it. That's the hope that this season implied. That's what makes you feel very good about it. Last night, as disappointed, and Ben Johnson referenced this, it seems as if all championship runs have to start somewhere, in a locker room full of dejected players, guys who are, brought together by defeat and fueled and motivated by that feeling.
Walter Payton crying on the bench in '84, leading to the 85
Bingo.
season.
You think of that when Ben Johnson says that people of a certain age will remember that. The Bulls overcoming the Pistons before their dynasty.
Yes.
The 2016 Cubs had to have the 2015 sweep. You look at the Blackhawks in 2010. They had to lose to the Red Wings in 2009. There are all kinds of examples there to look at in Chicago. And I think last night, the Bears feel like that could be another one.
Yeah, it was really something. We'll get to it. We'll talk about it. We got to get to the offensive line. Got to talk about the Joe Thuney decision and how that impacted maybe the short yard runs. It felt like they were struggling in those short runs pretty much all day long, and they were trying to go to the right side pretty much all day long. And
they ran behind Jonah Jackson and Darnell Wright because the left side was a makeshift cobbled together.
Yes, it was. It was.
Line of scrimmage, yeah.
So
no
it did hurt
it.
them. I mean, maybe it aided them in pass rush, and maybe it was just about protecting Caleb, and they came away in pretty good shape with that element of it. But it did change.
We can explain it.
It changed the interior of that offense, and it probably impacted some of those short runs.
Moving Joe Thuney, your best offensive lineman, from left guard to left tackle.
You're all pro offensive lineman.
You might have weakened two positions by addressing one.
Yes.